What's up, stock compounders? Brad here. So it is the first in a series of videos I'm doing on super investors, okay? Dataroma 13F season. Q2 2021 results are out, at least some of them. About half of the super investors that I follow have released 13Fs for the second quarter of 2021. So I want to kind of share what I've noticed in terms of what great super investors that I follow have bought recently in the second quarter. And then on Monday, the rest of the 13Fs will be out, and I'll do a follow-up video to cover those laggards who weren't able to make the filing by today, Friday, August 13th. So who are we going to look at? Seth Klarman, right? Chuck Akre, Li Lu, Mohnish Pabrai, of course, Thomas Gaynor, Guy Spier, some of the super investors I follow. So what I did was I made a little spreadsheet here. You guys know I love making spreadsheets. There's a few on here that aren't in Dataroma, okay? And that includes Andrew Rosenblum of Bonsai Partners, one that I've been following. Ray Dalio's Bridgewater Associates is not tracked in Dataroma, so I looked that up on Whale Wisdom. I could have just gone directly to the 13F. The nice thing about Whale Wisdom, it shows the change, so I don't have to look at multiple 13Fs and do the calculations. It's simplified. Mohnish Pabrai, of course, tracked by Dataroma. Phil Town, not tracked by Dataroma. Okay, so Phil Town is a bit of a tricky one to find. You've got to look at, World Funds Trust at the SEC.gov website. And World Funds Trust appears to be this kind of umbrella organization that handles filings for 10 different funds or something like that. So Tom, Investing with Tom, was nice enough to find that and update my spreadsheet for what Phil Town was buying. He's got 2 new buys that have decent conviction in the second quarter of 2021. Seth Klarman, Guy Spier, like I mentioned. Now, Chris Meyer, not a guy on Dataroma. So there's actually quite a few investors here who aren't tracked by Dataroma. Chris Meyer, anyone who watches my videos know who he is. He wrote the book 100 Baggers, stocks that return 100 to 1 and how to find them. So, I keep a close eye on him because, he has done a lot of research on the anatomy of a 100 bagger. He's studied great, 100 baggers and more in the past. So, I trust that maybe he can turn up some gems every once in a while. So we're taking a look at what he's doing. Now, he doesn't have to file his holdings, but he has a blog, right? And he puts out a blog post about every month where, I'd say more often than not in blog posts, he'll mention 1 or 2 of his holdings. And recently he mentioned that he had 2 buys in the first quarter of 2021. So while the rest of these are buys in the second quarter, Evolution Gaming and Topicus from Chris Meyer are buys in the first quarter. All right, and I think that's really all the activity he's had in the first 2 quarters. But again, he wouldn't have to disclose that if he didn't want to. And then, of course, Charlie Munger, Chuck Akre, Li Lu, Thomas Gaynor. There weren't any significant buys in those 13Fs. So let's take a quick peek at, what great investors bought in the second quarter, in the case of Chris Meyer in the first quarter. So this first one is on the Hong Kong exchange, Greentown Management. Okay, now Greentown Management is not a company I've done much digging into. I know Investing with Frank, who's one of the punch card gang, he's going to be putting out a video on Greentown Management in China. It's like a construction consulting business, pretty small, just under $1 billion market cap. So it's a small cap company in China in the construction industry. And it's Andrew Rosenblum, he bought equal amounts of Greentown Management and Alibaba. So they're the second and third biggest positions in the portfolio. I have them both as two because they're the same size. And you can see here, I tracked what was the low price in the second quarter, okay, versus the price today. And the idea there is, these investors are very good. They may have been able to nab these investments at the low of the quarter that these holdings are coming out of. So I wanted to know, how big is the difference between the price I can buy today and the price these investors could have gotten if they bought at the low? So what is that delta? And you can see for Greentown Management, it's gone up 12% since the low in the second quarter. And right down the line, you can see what those deltas are. And then VIC, Value Investors Club, was there a write-up on these companies? And if so, when was it? For Alibaba, it was in February of 2019. And there's actually both a long thesis and a short thesis, two different write-ups, which is awesome. For Alibaba in Value Investors Club, if you guys want to check out both sides of the argument. Obviously a bit dated from 2.5 years ago, but still some useful stuff in there. So we talked about Baba. Baba shows up 4 times, okay, in the investors that I'm tracking here, having bought in the second quarter. Andrew Rosenblum, like I said, pretty big stake in Alibaba. We've got Mohnish Pabrai, who added to Alibaba. It was like a 53% increase in his Alibaba holding. No surprise that he added. He had mentioned in one of his recent Q&As that he was currently buying Alibaba. But nice to see an increase there from Mohnish Pabrai. Phil Town, a completely new position in Alibaba. It's his 6th largest holding in the Rule 1 fund. So there you have it with that. And you can see we're 9% lower today than we were from the low of the second quarter when, Phil Town, when Pabrai, when Rosenblum, and when Guy Spier could have bought at that low price in the second quarter. So Baba just keeps getting more and more attractive if it was a compelling investment a quarter or 2 or 3 quarters ago, it's only becoming a more compelling investment. Ray Dalio, Walmart. So let's take a peek from Whale Wisdom, what's happening in Ray Dalio's Bridgewater Associates portfolio. So a 37% reduction in the S&P 500 for Ray Dalio. We've got a 45% increase in the position in Walmart, okay? So that's the biggest single company holding in the equity portfolio for Bridgewater. You've got a slight increase. I believe this is the Emerging Markets Index. I don't know offhand. I don't really invest in index funds. Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, also significant increases in the second quarter of 2021. But Walmart sits atop here with the highest conviction in Bridgewater. So next one, Phil Town, okay, Sprouts Farmers Market. So this is an interesting one. It's, a mid cap, pretty small. It's the second smallest one on the list here. I've never shopped at Sprouts. I think I've been in a Sprouts once. I shop mostly at Whole Foods, sometimes at Trader Joe's. So, I look at Sprouts and I think, is there really enough room in that industry? You've got Whole Foods kind of on the high end. You've got Trader Joe's. They have a lot of organic stuff, right? You've got Trader Joe's on the low end. I don't have the full picture in terms of the competitive environment that Sprouts is operating in. But I may dig deeper into this one. The nice thing is there's a very fresh write-up in Value Investors Club for Sprouts Farmers Market. I think maybe Phil Town got this by getting put the stock, right? He bought put options on Sprouts Farmers Market. The price dropped below that exercise price, and he was put the shares. So he didn't necessarily buy these at the second quarter low of $24.85. So a little nuance there, just to keep in mind. We are slightly below that low price of the second quarter. So that's Sprouts Farmers Market. Micron. Okay, this was interesting. So Seth Klarman, his biggest position, I believe, after the first quarter was Intel. All right, he sold a little bit of Intel and added, what did he add? I think 30-some%. Let's not guess. Let's actually take a look here. So Micron, Seth Klarman, one of the greatest value investors of all time, added 32% to his Micron position, which is the 7th largest holding in Baupost Group. So, and you can see here the reported price. Now that's just the price of Micron at the end of the second quarter, okay, at the end of June. It's gone down quite a bit since then. I believe it's, what is it, like $70? Yeah, $70.93 right now. You see the low in the second quarter, 76.80. So we're down 8% from the price that Klarman could have bought if he had hit that low. So Micron, I'm thinking about maybe adding more to my Micron position. I'll probably put a video out next week about Micron, just kind of my take on it. You know, what I think the investment thesis is there currently. So, and again, a write-up from not so long ago, about a year and a half ago in Value Investors Club. And if you look at the 10-year return on Micron, it's a 13-bagger, okay, over the last 10 years. So that was kind of interesting. What do I want to do? Yeah, right, this is the blog for Chris Meyer. I'm just going to put ticker in here at the moment. It's just going to make me move it around. It is. So let's see, sign into ticker. And I want to look at this price chart real quick from Micron. It's got a fairly nice kind of compound growth curve to it with a little bit of cyclicality in the curve as well, which seems like would be reducing over time the cyclicality because of, you know, the industry consolidation in the space that Micron is operating. But you see here, you know, definitely some wiggles, but those peaks and troughs are kind of nicely growing at a kind of a compound growth curve, which is nice to see. 30% compound annual growth rate over the last 10 years for Micron. Again, with Alibaba, Guy Spier. Not a huge surprise there. Guy Spier and Mohnish Pabrai, you know, are buddies. I'm sure they have talked a lot about Micron. But, you know, always nice as a Micron holder to see additional, that's Baba. Guy Spier has owned Micron for a little while now. But Baba, again, just so many investors piling into Baba as the price drops and drops. Be interesting to see if that trend continues or if we see anything from Berkshire Hathaway around Alibaba. A lot of you, I'm sure, are very curious what we're going to see with regards to that. So Chris Meyer, okay, disclosed in a blog post within the last couple of months these two buys in the first quarter. Evolution Gaming, which appears to be like an online gaming company, helping casinos, you know, do gaming digitally outside of the casinos. So, you know, gambling is not my space, so I'm not going to dig in to Evolution Gaming. But look at this, guys, a 78 bagger in 6.5 years. okay, since it's been public. This is something that Chris Meyer could have got. The best price he could have gotten is around 810, and that's in Swedish dollars, Swedish currency. And it's up 42% since the first quarter low. Again, this is the first quarter low, not the second quarter low. And then Topicus, which I've talked a little bit about in the past. Topicus is a spinoff from Constellation Software. Constellation Software is just one of those incredible compounders over time. If you look at the last 10 years of Constellation Software, it's up 29 times, okay? And I think it's probably a 100 bagger from when Constellation IPO'd. I think it was like 2005 or something like that. So just an incredible success story, Constellation Software. And I'm sure there are a lot of investors looking at Topicus hoping that enough of that DNA, right, enough of that great long-term compounder DNA has made it into Topicus from the parent Constellation Software. But again, you see, it's up 45% since the first quarter low when Chris Meyer could have bought in. And it's really just been kind of a steady climb since this thing IPO'd. But mid-cap, right? It's the third smallest company on this list. So, and again, pretty recent write-up in Value Investors Club. There's also a write-up, The 10th Man puts out a blog, and I found that write-up quite well researched. So if you're interested in Topicus, check that one out as well. And these are the only two there's three. So three of these are international. You've got Topicus out of Canada, but it's mainly doing business in the Netherlands. You've got Evolution Gaming out of Sweden. Obviously Baba, US listed, but out of China. And then Greentown Management, which is also out of China. So pretty impressive international representation here from the super investor activities from Q2 of 2021. And of course, Charlie Munger, Chuck Akrelilu, and Thomas Gaynor, again, didn't have any significant activity in the second quarter in terms of buying, sort of those high conviction bets. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of what I'm seeing from the second quarter so far from the gurus that I follow. Again, on Monday, I'll put out, whatever 13Fs come in on Monday. I'll kind of break out the high conviction bets there and have another video for you guys. So stay tuned for that one. And with that, I will see you all in the next video. Take care.